Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's Learning Tech Showcase AI in Training, sponsored by Biz Library, Box of Crayons, Is Easy, Sweet Rush, and Seertech Solutions. I'm Sarah Gallo, a senior editor here at Training Industry, and I'm thrilled to have you all with us today. Before we get started, I'd like to go over just a few housekeeping items to help you interact with our speaker and get the most out of the program. So throughout today's event, please feel free to use chat for comments and submit any questions in your Q&A panel. We'll address all of your comments and questions either during the event or at the end of the session during the dedicated Q&A. Once this session ends, a brief survey will pop open in your browser. As always, we welcome your feedback on the session and speaker. All of our sessions are also being recorded and will be archived on our website. You'll receive a follow-up email from us with a link to the on-demand sessions. If this is your first Training Industry event, I'd like to send a special welcome out to you. We exist to make connections among L&D professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in learning and development through live events, like today's Learning Tech Showcase, as well as through articles, our magazine, conference, research reports, and our podcast. We would love to hear about what you've learned from today's session on social media. So please follow us on your favorite platforms and let's continue the conversation there. And without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our speaker. With us, we have Stephen Weaver, Key Account Manager at Is Easy. Stephen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you everyone for joining today. As Sarah mentioned, my name is Stephen Weaver, and I am a Key Account Manager here at Is Easy. Go ahead and pull my screen up. We're very excited today to introduce you to our brand new feature here at Is Easy called Is Easy Autopilot. And before I get to that, I just want to open things up by saying that if you're still on the lookout for a new course authoring tool, or even if you already have a course authoring tool in place and you're looking to get something to work side by side, we know that can be an overwhelming process. There's a lot of options out there to choose from, especially considering that you might be facing shorter delivery times, higher demand of courses. You're getting requests for more courses, more trainings every month, and you might be working with a smaller team. So when you finally find that course authoring tool for your company, you don't want to find yourself in this 50% category where we see way too many of instructional developers, people like yourself, spending too much time just learning how to use the program. On top of that, there's a ton of new AI tools out there to choose from right now. And if we're being honest with ourselves, a lot of the quality of our trainings can suffer because of that, because we don't really know how to use these AI tools. You can see there, we know kind of the basics of some of what these tools can do, like text generation or creating images or automatic translations. But here at Is Easy Author, this program I'll show you today is built for non-experts. So people without a formal instructional design background. But you can still keep in mind that the technology that's built into this, we still have some powerful AI technology built in this so that you can still design courses, for example, with a pedagogical structure. We're one of the most accessible tools available right now. So once you're done editing your course, I'm going to show you how you can integrate that real accessibility. And if you're still looking to use those kind of interactive elements, include exercises and games into your lessons, you can still keep your learners engaged. We have 26 different interactive elements that you can build into these lessons. So you can see, for example, our goal with Is Easy Authors AI doesn't create a course for you, it creates it with you. So we don't want to let the computer do all the work. We're going to build you a structure with our autopilot of the course, and then let you put the human touch, put the finishing touches on that course. We have over 20 years of experience designing custom courses for all kinds of different enterprises. And when we built this new autopilot tool, we built all of our pedagogical and technical knowledge into this tool. So you can see there, our philosophy is we design features driven by learning, not just by technology. So although I'm going to focus most of today's session on our new autopilot feature, Um, it's important to know that all of the AI within this tool is totally optional. So our authoring tool stands alone. You don't need to use the AI. You can build every single one of those 26 elements from scratch. But even beyond the new Autopilot tool, which is the most powerful AI function, we have about 5 or 6 different smaller AI tools built into the course authoring tool as well. So if you want to do things like automatic voiceovers, you can use our text-to-speech feature that'll build you a quality digital voiceover in less than a minute. Or if you did need translations, we have an automatic translator in there. You can add subtitles to multimedia on your videos, for example, or generate those different games or exercises with this AI too. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get in and show you this new feature. If you like what you see today and you want to get access to Author, we can add you to the beta testing pilot for this new Autopilot feature. But anyways, if you're brand new to Is Easy Author, if you haven't seen us before, um, welcome. So this is just a web application. There's no download or installation required. Once you create an account, you subscribe. It's an annual subscription. Once you log in and you create a couple folders in your account, the first thing that you're going to need to do is create a new project, right? So for example, I'm in this folder here. We can import PowerPoints and start from scratch. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But if we hit the new project button, instead of starting from scratch, you're going to see right next to that is our brand new Autopilot feature. And it's still in beta mode, but like I said, we can add anyone to early access to test this out if you like what you see. But we'll go ahead and click start. First thing that you're going to see up top is describe your content. So this is a 500 character limit where you can explain whatever you want this course to be about. You can include different links, external resources in there. Right beneath that, you see the raw material box. So this allows you to upload any sort of Word documents, PDFs, text files that you might have. So for example, I'll go ahead and add in this quick PDF I have. It's a corporate onboarding manual PDF. And, you can see an example of what it looks like here. This is what the PDF looks like. It's our corporate onboarding manual. It is easy. And it's just a lot of text in here. So we want to turn this into an actual course, right? So I'll go back here. You can upload multiple files into here. We'll just stick with this one for this demo for now. And then we'll say, for example, build me a course about onboarding at Is Easy, right? So again, that's 500 characters that's allowed in there. So the more specific you are with that request, the better. If you want to include different links from the internet, you can do that as well. But for this demo, we'll just keep it at a sentence. You'll hit next step, and this is going to bring us to the structure page. So like I said, this isn't going to build you the full course. You still want to go in there and put the finishing touches on it, make sure you're not sacrificing on any quality. But one of the first steps in this autopilot feature is giving you kind of a bird's eye level view of what the course would look like, right? So you can see it's given us a title, Onboarding It Is Easy, Structure, Values, and Operations. It'll give us this nice introduction section. We've got these other sections here, welcome and organizational values, introduction to Is Easy, organizational identity and history, all of these different subsections it's built for us. And we can go in there and edit any of these titles. We can add additional sections if we'd like, an extra topic from the bird's eye level view. We can also remove any information that we don't want to include in this lesson as well, but it's also included a formal evaluation at the end. The most important part about this bird's eye level view, looking at the structure of the course, are these drop downs here. So I'll leave the introduction as is for now, but in section 2, for example, we can see introduction to Is Easy. So we see subsection cover, but the first one we've got is executive leadership welcome, commitment, professionalism, teamwork as foundational values. Right now, that's in there under our explain element. But for example, if we wanted to make this an infographic, we can tell the computer to build us an infographic there. This next section, organizational excellence, professionalism, talent, commitment, and safe, respectful environment. Instead of giving us a bunch of text in this element, we can have it build us, for example, a role play simulation, adaptability and innovation, responding to change through continuous improvement, sustainability. I'll show an example of one of our exercises. Or instead of, we already have an exercise there, so I'll show an example of a game. So best practice is to go through each one of these sections and choose what you want to include. But for this demo, we'll just stick to section 2 for now. So we'll go ahead and hit next step. One of the last steps in building this course on Autopilot is choosing the branding for this course. So on our enterprise license and author, you can create your own custom corporate templates so that whenever you go to create a new course, it'll already have your company logo, color scheme, and fonts pre-built in there. So you don't have to do it training by training. For this demo, we'll just stick with one of these basic templates. We'll stick with this nice blue color palette, but as I said, you can customize that so you have your company color palettes already in there. Images are optional. You can choose to generate images or not generate them. We'll include them for now. You have a couple different photo styles in here. We'll stick with the stock photo, but that's the last step. After we've done that, we hit create project, and usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes to generate the full project. So like I said, I want to make sure you all know how to build a course on IsEasy from scratch as well. So if you hit new project, instead of hitting this autopilot section, we can go in and choose the from scratch option. On author, you do have the option to create express courses. So if you don't want the training to be clickable slide by slide format, the express course is vertical navigation. It's just scrolling all on one page, max 20 slides. But most of our courses are built in this typical course format, max 350 slides. We can select that. Just like you saw in the autopilot section, first step whenever you create a new training is to pick that corporate template. And you can see examples of templates that we've built for other companies. For example, Almiral is a big pharmaceutical company. We've got a template in here for Telefonica. Again, that's so you have that branding already one and done, ready to go. You also will have access to our pre-made author templates on here. And it's important to know no matter what template you choose to work with, you can always build a blank slide. So for example, I'll pick this Gradient Lab one real quick. We'll stick with that blue color palette still. Hit create project. That'll bring us to our slide indexing page you see here. And we can give it a title. We can add additional sections, name these sections. I'll come back to that in a second, make a little bit more sense. Anyways, if we hover over this arrow here and click edit, that brings us into our slide editor, right? So again, this is built for non-experts. So the interface, it's pretty simple to get to learn how to use. Kind of looks like PowerPoint in the sense where you've got your slide navigation and adding new slides on the left-hand side here. And then you can make all your configurations in the middle and on the right-hand side. But like I said, no matter what template you choose, you can always, the first thing that you're going to see is that blank slide. So you can always start from scratch and add in a blank slide. But these templates are great because we already have all these pre-made slides ready to go. So for example, if we wanted to add in our interactive video slide here, this is just an example of the interactive video is one of those 26 elements where you can go and upload your own MP4 video, and then you can choose where in the timestamp you want it to either display a message or display a question. They'll actually have to answer correctly to move forward in the video. But this pre-made slide's nice because we've got a little bit of side text here. We can customize this, give it a new title. It's already got that nice blue background. You have other pre-made slides that are a little bit more complex here. So for example, if you wanted to work with different infographics, or for example, this is an example of our gallery element here. Now it's just on the author's part to go in there and change the slide background and edit this text how they'd like. So if you have text you can natively bring over from a PowerPoint or Word document, you can just copy and paste that over. You have all kinds of other pre-made slides. For example, catalog and gallery. If you want to make your slide clickable, this is an example of our flip card element in there. It's already designed. You just need to change that text in there. And then you'll see a few other ones in here. All of our exercises and games you have pre-made templates for as well. So we have the games are a little bit more just to keep people engaged. You can't really give them direct feedback on these games. They're not formal evaluations. But for example, our exercise, like our listening with ABC exercise. So this is where you can throw in an MP3 file. They'll have to listen to the audio. And then right next door, then they'll have some multiple choice questions to answer. And this is super easy to edit. If you see on the right-hand side here, I can go in and change the question how I'd like. I can change these answer options by editing the text. And then this is one of those 5 exercises where you can give direct feedback in real time on this element. So if they get it correct, you can add a little message there. If they get it wrong, you can add a little message there as well. But yeah, out of those exercises, there's 5 different ones that allow you to give real-time feedback. The read and complete, look and complete, the fill in the blanks, sorting, the arrange exercise. So there's all kinds of different elements to keep people engaged. One of my favorite pre-built templates that we have in here is our simulations one, for example. So if you need to show your learners how to log into your company portal or demonstrate some kind of a software program, right? This is just an example of clicking through Excel using our hotspots element. But for the author, it makes it easy because you only have to change the background photo, and then you can choose, for example, where you want this blue circle to show up and change that text. So that simulations one is already built for you. And then there's a few more at the bottom beyond our simulations. You have different graphs, dashboards. Our Discover one is another one that makes it a clickable slide where they actually have to click on these icons to reveal some extra information. And then, yeah, if I went to that blank slide, for example, and I just, let's say, wanted to start from scratch by adding in one element here. If you click that plus button, this is where you're going to see all 26 elements that you can build manually from scratch. Our interactive video, all the different exercises. If you want to embed any other third-party programs, you can copy and paste the URL there. This is a list of all the other programs that you can use within Author without having to make the learner leave this Author lesson. So you just put the URL in there and you can use it within there. But let me back out of this lesson real quick. I'll remove this. We don't need this anymore. Just delete that. Before I get into show you that Autopilot course, you can see it's done building there for us now. I just quickly want to show you what it would look like to start from a PowerPoint. So again, you can import a PowerPoint lesson in there. We'll click Edit. I already gave it a title. I've given it a couple subsections here and given them a name. Again, if I hover over this arrow and click Edit, this is what it would look like if we had a bunch of PowerPoint slides in here. So we've got all the slides. We can go down and add a blank new slide, for example. We'll just stick with one element. And let's say we wanted to make this interactive by building a quick exercise. So our chat simulation, for example. Again, all of these elements can be built from scratch, but whenever you see this purple button here, that's where you can use some of the smaller AI tools that are built into this program. So you can hit create content, and then you can tell the computer to look at all the information in all of the slides or just this first section, how past affects the present for design. You hit create content, and then the computer is going to look at all the text in these different slides and build us an exercise based on that content. So like I said, right now, if I scroll down here, we don't have anything built. We don't have a title on here yet. What I'll do is I'll give it a background image real quick. You can upload your own local. If you have your own images, you can go through the local image option, but we also have a stock photo catalog. So for example, this course was about design, so I can search for an image about design, throw that in there, and boom, you can see in under a minute, we already have a new title for this simulation, and it's already built out for us. So the chat simulation is one of my favorite ones we have on Author because it doesn't require a lot of response from the learner. This is a text message based conversation where they have to pay attention to the conversation, and then at some point they'll be prompted with a multiple choice question. And they actually have to answer correctly to move forward in the conversation. But we've used the AI to build the basic structure, and then we can go down to those individual messages. And, if we wanted to add in some multimedia to that first message, if we wanted to have them watch a video first, or if we wanted to throw in a voiceover to this individual exercise, we can upload our own MP3 file. Like I said, we also have the text-to-speech option where you can do our automated voiceovers, copy and paste text in any language, and it'll generate a digital voiceover for you with the correct tones of all of these different languages, male or female. In under a minute, you can add a quick voiceover to that first message. But yeah, that's what it looks like in PowerPoint. If I back out of this one real quick, like I said, that autopilot lesson is already built for us. So now if we go in and click edit on this, we have this title, onboarding it is easy, structure, values, and operations. We can see all the different sections that it has built for us in the structure, including a formal evaluation at the end of a lesson. Now, if I go in and preview this is what it'll look like for the learner. Obviously, we still need to add in our company logo. But if we go to this menu here, the navigation menu, we can see all the different sections that it's given us. And if we click through this, we'll hit start. When we built that structure, the introduction is just a little bit of text introducing the course. So this will be about welcome and values at ISEZ, our organizational identity, structure and functions, ethics and conduct, and operations manual. So got a nice little introduction. And then in section 2 is where we actually customize those elements a little bit. So for example, instead of giving us a bunch of text about our core objectives here, we've had it build us an infographic that's actually clickable for us so that the learner can click through all of these different sections through this infographic here. On the next slide, this is where we had it build us a mini role play. Usually you wouldn't put this right off the bat, but just for demo purposes, you can see we had it build us that same chat simulation that we had built in the PowerPoint as well. But instead, this is all about our onboarding process. Again, they'll have to pay attention to these different messages, and then they'll be prompted with a little multiple choice question. They actually have to answer correctly to move forward to the next question. I think we also had built in one of our games here. So core values and objectives, that is easy. This is an example of our trivia game. This one's super simple to build manually, but it's already built this out for us. It'll give us a few different categories, and then within each category, we have a little multiple choice question here. Now, like I said, that's not a formal evaluation. That's just to keep our learners engaged throughout the course. We have a couple other ones in here. As we click through, if I skip all the way to the end to that formal evaluation, we can see what it's built for us. Now let's check to see what we have learned. This is where the learner will actually have to go in and select and submit all these different questions, and that will go back to your formal LMS. So you'll get tracking on this formal evaluation. But if I close out of this preview, underneath edit content on the slide indexing page, if you go to configuration, if you're not using those corporate templates, this is where you can go in and manually change that course image. You can add in your company logo easily there, choose the color scheme that you're working with. But then importantly, when it comes to accessibility, you can say, okay, is this going to be non-accessible or accessible? So this autopilot course has already built it in an accessible format. So if we go back to the preview, right next to that navigation menu there, if we hit this icon, boom, now we can see the accessible version. We can see the color scheme is different. We've got that progress bar in the top right-hand corner. And if we scroll down to that second section, even the infographics are going to be in the accessible format here. That chat simulation that you saw, this is what the accessible version of the chat simulation would look like. All of those different activities will be converted. The trivia game as well. So super easy to toggle that on and off. You can see what it would look like on the mobile version as well in this preview mode. So very responsive. It looks great on the mobile device as well. Switch back to the desktop. But yeah, I'll close out of that preview. The last step, once, let's say we put a little bit more time into polishing that up and the quality looked good, we're ready to distribute it. If you go down to that third section, distribution, this is where you can either get a direct link of the course to send, but most importantly for you all, you're going to want to go to this LMS option. and you're going to see SCORM 1.2, 2004, and the XAPI options. So once you publish the course, that's going to actually give you a zip file to download to your computer, and then you can publish that to whatever LMS you might be using. So it's super easy to distribute there. We do have some advanced options on our enterprise license. For example, if you go to translate with AI, this is where I can flip this course into any single one of these languages that we see in this dropdown. We have 36 different languages that you can translate your courses in. It'll translate it in under a minute. We also have some advanced features, for example, our share for review. So if I activate this review and I open up this link, if we're working with another colleague that doesn't have an authoring account, but we still want them to review our course, if you send them this link, they just need to put in a nickname and then they can go in and say, for example, change the header. We'll send that to the author for some feedback. And now in the author's view, if we go back to that edit content, we can see a notification in that first section. So this allows for a little bit of collaboration between colleagues that might not be using the author account. We can go in there and review it, make any changes that are necessary. A couple other advanced features. You can send a copy to another account. You can just translate hard text as well. But yeah, once you've got everything done and you've distributed it, the course is ready to go. So I think that's all I want to show for you right now. You got to see what it looks like to create the autopilot and start from scratch. I think we've got a couple minutes for questions. But like I said, if you want to try this new autopilot feature out, reach out to our team. We'll be excited to get you on board. So thank you very much. Yeah, if you have any questions, I'll take a look at the chat, see what we can answer here if we still have a little bit of time.
We do have a few minutes. Let's see, one question came in. Can it work with highly specific technical content or only more general topics?
Oh yeah, great question. So the answer is both. That prompt that you saw in our autopilot feature, if I open that back up and hit new project, autopilot. First of all, when the more information you put in, I only put in a sentence, describe my content, but the more detailed, the more specific you are, the better. So you're just going to get a better result. Same thing with the raw material there. If you have a really disorganized PDF or a Word document that's all over the place, the structure of it doesn't really matter. It's just getting the content in there for you because you can always edit any of that content afterwards. Oh, Sarah, I think you're on mute.
Whoop, thank you. I think we have
No
time
worries.
for maybe one more question. Can the templates be customized with my company's style so the AI can use that design as a base?
Yes, definitely. Good question. On our enterprise license, you can build these corporate templates from scratch. So you'll have an extra folder in your environment. It's called custom templates. And if you go in there, you only have to do it one time. You'll go to that configuration page and you'll put the specific course image, the template image, your company logo, and then you'll create these pre-designed color palettes to work along with your brand. You have these different fonts. If you have a specific company font, we can add that to the dropdown as well. So I definitely recommend using our corporate templates so then you don't have to configure training by training. Definitely.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for a great demo. That was awesome.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for joining. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I work with all of our US-based customers, so I'd be excited to show you more.
All right, everyone, we will be taking a 15-minute break, but up next we have Margot and Justina for their session sponsored by Box of Crayons, Build Real Coaching Skills Through Practice with AI Simulations. I hope you will stick around for the next session, which will begin shortly.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.